We all know that big sentences and big books can be scary, but I have learned this year that there are ways to make them seem less scary and big. One thing that's helped me this year is the grammar. I've never been very good at grammar, but I've learned so much more about it. I probably knew like the nouns, the verbs, adjectives, and that's about it because I've never been very good at grammar. But I've learned about like prepositions and conjunctions and how a sentence works and how you can put it together to make sense and not have a run-on sentence and a bunch of different things to make sentences more clear. What's really helped me this year is our grammar packet. The grammar packet we had to fill out at the beginning of the year has helped me so much throughout English. It has all the definitions of everything that I need in it, like all the clauses, phrases, sentence parts, anything. Like I can label a dependent, independent clause without having to memorize everything. And I can label a noun, an adjective, a verb, a conjunction, a preposition, anything I need just with that packet. And it helps me so much because it has all the definitions of everything and it has examples of each thing in it. And also the grammar worksheets because they help me to actually go through and label everything in a sentence because before I'd never really sat down and said, oh, hey, I'm just going to label this sentence for fun right now. So now I actually have a chance to do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to label the parts of a sentence or explain the steps to. So first you label the sentence parts, which I've done here. And usually maybe I'd just be able to do like the adjectives, the nouns, and the verbs, but now I can label everything and be pretty confident about what I'm labeling. Number 2 is labeling the phrases. I can now label the phrases in a sentence, such as prepositional phrases, appositive phrases, verbals, anything really, and it's helped me a lot to be able to do this. And before I'd never really known what phrases were, I guess, in a sentence because I'd never learned grammar in detail before. And again, the grammar worksheets helped me with this because it gave me practice. Okay, number 3 is the clauses. So for the clauses, I have labeled the independent clauses, and before I just kind of thought of sentences as like one big thing, but now you can separate them into 2 different clauses, the independent and dependent. Okay, now is labeling the sentence parts, such as the subject and predicates in each sentence. And this one, I just did the subjects and predicates, and before, I knew what the subject was, and like usually the thing that it was referring to, but I never looked in detail at it. Next is vocabulary. Vocabulary has helped me a lot this year by just being able to expand my vocabulary and use bigger words and be able to understand books better by using parts of the word to connect the whole thing. I've learned many things through vocabulary. When I read Things Fall Apart, that book had like tons of words in it that I just didn't really recognize or know, so it helped to have the vocabulary in there at the back of the book and just like to be able to connect it with different words. So one way that what we do in class like has helped me know like what different words mean, or at least what the parts of speech are, because the endings of words can help you understand like what the part of speech is, so at least you know that much. The ending lets you know, this ending, T-I-O-N, lets you know that the word is a noun, so you can look for that and decide what the word might mean by the rest of it. Okay, in words such as uncharted, the prefix of the word is not, so it's not something. And when you know what that means, and you can look at the rest of the word and decide what the rest of the word means, since you know it's not something, you can look and see what the rest of the word is, and maybe it means like, for example, this is charted, and obviously people know what the definition of charted is. The last thing I've done is I found a word that I didn't know from Anthem, and I decided to do what we do in class on our vocab papers to describe the word. So it's a noun, and it's an underground container for liquid waste, or sewage. And you can kind of get this from the word pool, because a pool is a large thing that holds water, so you can kind of get like the large, like, I guess, liquid part of it. And then I said the cesspool by my house is smelling up the street, which is kind of gross, but that's a sentence that would kind of make me remember what I was talking, or what it was. The end. This is what I've learned in English 9 this year, and I hope to learn a lot more in the coming years.